miles, I've been feeling lonely. Pop me perks, all good or oldie. It's only with me, nobody can. It's only with me, nobody can clone me. Worry about
shit.
Disgraced journalists in the world. His career is now completely over after high-profile interviews he secured.
Princess Diana.
With friends and families of multiple victims branding him as responsible for two of the most famous deaths of all time. Through the 1990s and 2000s, he got exclusive access with some of the most known people on the planet. Little did they know it would be a conversation they never should have said yes to. Starting with the most famous of them all, Michael Jackson. In 2002, Martin sat down with Michael Jackson for the first time. During a series of interviews for a documentary called Living with Michael Jackson, Martin got to follow his life for 8 months. Over those 8 months, he got the chance to ask the greatest entertainer of all time anything he wanted. He toured Neverland, met Michael Jackson's kids, discussed his upbringing and family, and a big level of trust was built up. But when the documentary came out in February 2003, it was nothing like Michael Jackson had been promised. He originally agreed to do the documentary if a true picture was painted of who he is and his life. But after its release, the documentary hardly spoke about his music, his life, or any of these other conversations.
Just the allegations.
Instead, Bashir painted Michael Jackson as the wacko jacko image he'd been portrayed to the media as, and his narration over the documentary was targeted, with the main focus being his relationship with children. Michael Jackson
I knew it. He's whack.
The documentary released that after 8
This is actually one of the wackest things, guys, because it's probably one of the pieces of content or that was out there that helped spread that, in my opinion, false narrative.
Following his life, it showed a distorted picture of him as a father. Many questions or parts that were less controversial were completely cut from the edit, and stars like Madonna and Noel Gallagher came to his defense after the documentary aired. Noel Gallagher said, "I was quite annoyed at the fact that one of the biggest stars that ever was or ever will be, they managed to get access to him for how many months, and there was an 1.5-hour program on him, and they mentioned his music and his art for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Did you learn anything new about Michael Jackson that you didn't already know? He's off his nut. He's got a huge house. He's got a lot of money. We all knew that anyway. I would rather have had an 1.5-hour program telling me how he wrote the album Off the Wall and the one after that." After the documentary aired, Michael Jackson's manager said that the documentary had broken him. In his words, Michael took a long time to die, but it started the night the documentary aired. Questions about how Martin Bashir...
That's literally what I said, chat. I just said that. I like as you...
got the opportunity to follow the most famous man on the planet around for...
Yeah, literally, that's what I'm saying. It still affects him to this world, even after, to this day, even after he's left this world.
8 months. Started getting asked to, allegedly according to his colleagues. Martin had got the interview by promising Michael that they would plan a trip to Africa to visit children with AIDS. When Martin was asked under oath in court if this was true, he refused to answer. In response to the original documentary, a second one was aired, which included clips that were
That's very weird.
Completely cut from the first. It showed big contradictions between how Martin Bashir spoke to Michael Jackson in person compared to the voiceover that he later added in the final documentary. For example, in the first documentary, he said, "One of the most disturbing things is the fact that a lot of disadvantaged children go to Neverland. It's a dangerous place for a vulnerable child to be."
The problem is, you see, nobody actually comes here and sees it. But I was here yesterday and I saw it, and it's nothing short of a spiritually kind thing.
He does it all the time.
I know, but I've told him. I know.
A lot of people see it, but
they never talk about it, and I've said this to him, and what I've wanted to convey is those two things. And what we've had the privilege of doing this week is not only talking about the musical genius, but about what we saw yesterday, which was incredible.
The footage was privately filmed by a member of Michael's team, and it was believed Martin didn't realise they were still filming once he told his crew to cut.
But when he's talking about the things that he's passionate about, it's obvious that it's in his eyes. This is what's in his heart.
People usually don't ask these questions of him.
That's it.
And if they do, they don't make it. They don't make it in the papers. They don't make it on the interviews. It's all the negative stuff.
Stupid wrong.
And they cut questions out, and they just like they make it. That's why he doesn't even do interviews anymore. They twist everything. From the moment I met him, I mean, I remember, how can people be so cruel? I read an article and I was crying, and he goes,
"It's disgusting." Well, we ain't doing that this week.
This footage made Martin Bashir become one of the most hated people among Michael Jackson's fan base, with some blaming him for MJ's death. Martin Bashir gave MJ the false impression that his documentary was going to help help MJ and fix the public misconception about him. We all know now that that was absolutely false, and in fact he was planning to destroy, humiliate and embarrass MJ. That Living with MJ documentary was the catalyst for the 05 trial and the crooked RVSOs turning on him. In 2003, Michael Jackson was indicted on 4 counts of molesting a minor, 4 counts of intoxicating a minor to molest him, 1 count of attempted child molestation, 1 count of conspiring to hold Gavin RVSO and his family captive, and conspiring to commit extortion and child abduction. During the 2005 trial, Gavin RVSO and his brother testified that Michael Jackson had given them alcohol, showed them pornography, masturbated before them, and made sexual advances, whereas the defense characterized these witnesses as just individuals seeking to exploit Michael Jackson for money. Other celebrities came to Michael Jackson's defense too.
That is fucking heinous, bro. That's terrible.
Including Macaulay Culkin and comedian Chris Tucker. But in 2005, Michael Jackson was acquitted on all counts, but the damage had already been done, and Michael Jackson never returned to Neverland again. Following Michael Jackson's death, Martin Bashir commented live.
Bro, why does he have to be brown, Glow? He's definitely brown. Holy fuck.
On the news.
I think it's worth remembering that
he's so whack for that though. He's making all my brown brothers and sisters look bad.
Probably, singly, the greatest dancer and musician the world has ever seen. Certainly when I made the documentary, there was a small part of that which contained a controversy concerning his relationship with other young people. But the truth is that he was never convicted of any crime. I never saw any wrongdoing myself. And whilst his lifestyle may have been a bit unorthodox, I don't believe it was criminal. And I think the world has now lost the greatest entertainer it's probably ever known.
Questions of how he even got access to Michael Jackson for this long became even greater in later years,
literally.
Specifically after the career.
No, well, it's obvious that people around him did not have his best interest to let that happen.
Revelations came out about his interview with Princess Diana. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, it's free. In November 1995, Martin Bashir interviewed Princess Diana about her failed marriage to the Prince of Wales for BBC's programme Panorama. It was viewed 23 million times, being branded as the story of a generation, and it was the interview that took him from a small British reporter to global fame.
Wasn't Diana like besties with MJ?
Getting opportunities with people like Michael Jackson in the future. She spoke about her affair, Prince Charles's affair, and shortly after, the Queen wrote to both of them, telling them to divorce. 5 months after the interview, 2 reporters said that Martin had gone to Diana's brother, the Earl Spencer, showing that his head of security had secretly received money from a newspaper to spy on Spencer and his family. A graphic designer named Matt Wiesler revealed he had created fake bank statements under Bashir's orders. The statements were essentially used to win over Diana and her brother, but faking documents to win an interview like this breached all ethics, and so the BBC began an investigation. I say investigation because they didn't even ask the Earl Spencer or the graphic designer about it, and instead cleared Martin Bashir of all wrongdoing. In fact, Martin Bashir continued to work after, whereas the designer
Cozy Do It Curve. What's good, Serge? How you doing today, bro?
Work dried up and the BBC cancelled his contract with them. In 2020, 25 years after the interview had taken place, the ITV aired a documentary going into detail on the case. The documentary featured the graphic designer who was hired to fake the bank statements, and this time they wouldn't get out of it so easily. The BBC attempted to apologise to Spencer for what happened to Diana, but it was too late. Alongside the fake bank statements, Diana's brother also revealed other tactics Martin Bashir used to gain her trust for the interview. These included telling Diana her car was being tracked, her phone was being tapped, and a bodyguard.
Yeah, I remember hearing and seeing about this.
And close friends were plotting.
My dad was super.
Both Harry and Prince William came.
My dad was super like into that case. He was always telling me about it.
Out publicly addressing the BBC and Bashir after this new information came out.
Oh, it doesn't curve. No, my penis is perfectly straight. If you guys must know.
in their mum, with Harry saying,
I have a
"Our
perfectly
mother
healthy
lost her life
penis."
because of this."
It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse and has since hurt countless others. It brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia and isolation that I remember from those final years with her. But what saddens me most is that if the BBC had properly investigated the complaints and concerns first raised in 1995, my mother would have known that she'd been deceived.
The BBC's cover for him months after the interview forced them to also make an apology, which they dressed as them not being more switched on when the early warning signs appeared, but the damage was already done.
Too late.
2 interviews with 2 of the most famous people on the planet, which in their close friends and family's opinion led to
Mine
both of their
reaches for the sky, mine is a little curve.
family deaths. And if Michael Jackson was aware of how Bashir
I don't
got
need
the
to
Diana
know.
interview in the first place, it's likely he would have reconsidered participating. How responsible you think Martin Bashir is completely up to you,
Did
but
not
from
ask.
my research, at the least, he was a very deceitful journalist who would stop at nothing to get the storyline he wanted, whether that was betraying people that trusted him, like Michael Jackson, or Diana's brother, or breaking conduct. In 2021, he reportedly was struggling with health issues and now lives a very low profile life.
Is having a curved penis not good? I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I think that if it gets too curved, apparently, it makes like a buildup, and that can cause pain and cause you not to be able to get hard in the future. There's a way to get it out through like something called like shock therapy or some shit. It's not like shocking your dick, but it's like this thing that I saw. Actually, I saw a video about it.
Either way, it's too late. The interviews had been broadcast. Bashir walked away from the spotlight, but the
Ew, why he walking like that? Look at how he's
It's too
walking.
late. The interviews had been broadcast. Bashir walked away
Why his hand look like that? Why he like
from the
these?
spotlight. But the people he helped expose never got that luxury. Diana spent her final years under a microscope she could never escape, and Michael Jackson entered one of the darkest chapters of his life soon after trusting the same man with his story. History will argue over intent, responsibility and blame, but what's undeniable is that 2 world-changing interviews reshaped public perception
Yes,
forever, and not in a
that's
way
what
that
I
protected
said.
the people at the center of them. And when journalism crosses the line from truth-seeking into manipulation, the cost isn't just reputation, it's lives.
Yeah, it's lives. He said it best. That was a good video. Make sure you sub up.